Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and André.
Hello everyone. Welcome once again to the Soft Bites podcast. Hello, André. How are you?
Hi, Manuela. How are you? Nice to see you again.
Very nice to
Talk
see
to you again.
Yeah. And how is everything? Everything well?
Yes, everything is well. The weather is getting warmer. The sunsets are later and later,
The
which
days are
means that
getting
spring
bigger.
is coming. Yeah. If it wasn't for this war situation,
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. I'm still hopeful that eventually we will all people will get their things together, and I think there's no need to be so many people suffering. Really hope this ends as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I share your feelings and your thoughts. I was discussing with my partner that we believe in the humankind, right, and in the goodness
Yeah.
of humankind. So let's hope that that
I
wins.
think the goodness will eventually prevail. I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, so and tell me something, because today we're going to talk about stress. How is your stress levels in the last days?
They were my professional stress levels. They were higher during my 30s and during my 20s, and they are more confined. Let's say I still have some stress moments, but I don't think um, I mean, I have stress, but I don't think that the way that I react to stress is the same when I was 20s and 30s. I think I've managed to deal with it in a I wouldn't say in a better way, but in a less in a way that affects me less. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's exactly why I suggested this theme for us to talk today. So we're going to talk about good stress and bad stress, and the difference between stress and anxiety. Because when we talk about stress, and of course we know that dentistry is and it is identified as a highly stressful profession. We all know that.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
when we talk about, and when we hear this word stress, it usually comes always with a negative connotation, right? Immediately we associate to something negative.
Yeah.
And of course, stress has negative repercussions in us, in our body, but only if it's too much, if it reaches a degree that it can have those
Effective.
negative effects. But the fact is that not all stress is bad. So and the experts define that there are in fact two kinds of stress. There is the good stress and there is the bad stress. And I think it would be useful for us to talk a little bit about this, and also from your perspective, the professional perspective, also for the ones that are listening, to be able to start making these distinctions, because these distinctions are very important for you to deal with this with stress in your everyday dentistry. So good stress usually happens in time of transitions for better things. For example, it's when you start in a new practice, or when you open your own practice, or when you are performing a technique that you just learned for the first times, right? In a more personal level, for example, when you are preparing for running a marathon and you are doing it, or when you are having a baby, right? So these are all happy times, all of these situations that I described, but your
Mm-hmm.
body will experience stress. Your body is still
Mm-hmm.
going to experience stress. And also, good stress, usually it's in short term in time, and it will serve you to inspire you, to motivate you. And that's why
Okay.
it's associated with the happy experiences, or in transitions for something good to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
it serves as focus and energy, and
Mm-hmm.
even raises your performance. For you to enter the
Yes.
flow state, one of the things that you need is good stress. So this good stress will activate the hormones, right, that you need to to raise your focus and your concentration. So I think this is very important in dentistry, to our
Mm-hmm.
dentists to be aware that even those feelings and those emotions and those thoughts that they have when they are, for example, in the example that I just gave, when they are performing a technique that they just learned, that it's normal to feel that way. That's the
Mm-hmm.
normal your body physiological response to that, because our body doesn't react, that cannot differentiate it doesn't have the capacity to categorize which kind of stress we are feeling, if it's a good stress or a bad stress.
Mm-hmm.
Do you relate with this good stress, that it serves to motivate you?
Well, I think I do. I think everybody can relate to that
Mm-hmm.
in one way or another. When you were talking, and of course you are talking about especially mind stress, like mental stress,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I've been listening to a lot of podcasts on longevity and lifespan,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's from David Sinclair. Very interesting. And one of the things that it's clear now in science is that in order for your body to function in an optimal way, sometimes even to reverse aging,
Mm-hmm.
um, you need to go through stress. So, what are the things that we now know that can eventually prolong lifespan? Well, one of them is fasting. And
Mm-hmm.
fasting is nothing more, nothing less than the stress to the body. So basically, you are telling to your body, look, these are hard times. So we have to fight for this. Okay. So these are hard, and the body itself fights for that. So fasting, so eating like 1 or 2 meals a day. The other thing that we know is physical exercise. Physical exercise stresses the body, but it also improves lifespan. Let me think of some others that they were telling also. Cold
Cold
exposure,
temperatures, yeah. Mm-hmm.
extreme exposure. We know that extreme exposure has an amazing effect on the neurochemistry of your body. So there's something there, right? I mean, when you tell your body, look, there's something. These are not good times. So he automatically works its way through to improve the cleaning of your bad cells and improves your immune system, improves your mental health, whatever. Um, so I find it interesting because I think there's something similar
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for when we talk about when you talk about motivation and stress. So yes, for sure, I think that um, especially big projects, they tend to be a little bit more overwhelming. But I'm talking for myself. I remember when I opened my practice, the stress was in 2005. The stress was quite big. But for smaller challenges, I think the stress is really, really important. And like you were saying, it is the beginning of something great, right? So let's say you are opening a practice or you are just changing the way that you do some things in the practice. For example, you want to stop. One of the things that I can relate, I wanted to stop working with conventions and insurances. And that was scary. But it was the beginning of something very, very good because I realized that I didn't have to compromise the treatments because I started working completely private. So that was a stressful situation, but it also gives you the motivation to do more. Okay, I'm not working with insurances. Now, me and my team, we have to work harder in a way that people that come here, they understand this is a different place. And because there's no insurances, we need to work on the patient service, patient communication, um, and just raise the bar of the practice. So yes, some things, some stressful situations will eventually force you to raise the bar. Um, but my most stressful situation professionally was by far when I opened my practice, because I was basically at the same time that I opened my practice, I also applied for a prosthodontic degree in
In
London,
London.
King's College. So it was a very challenging time for me. It was difficult, even personally. It was difficult. And yes, I think that, for example, that time the stress was a bit too much for me, and it took a toll on me. I mean, it was no big deal, but I noticed it affected me. It really affected me. Um, so
But
one question that I have for you: so when is it? When does the good become bad? How does one understand that the good becomes bad? Because I think that's a question that most people want to know. And again, I think that the threshold for people is very different. Some people can bear a lot of suffering and stress. Some other people don't, just will not be able to bear it, right? But so those would be two questions. So first, when do you know it's too much? And the second would be, okay, so do you always need to I won't say fight it, but do you always need to
manage it. No.
and not even manage it, because sometimes you are in a situation that you just have to hold on and hold on and hold on and hold on, and I think that sometimes people don't know the limit. Okay, so number one, when do you know it's a bad stress, and when do you know that you are in your limit?
Well, the big difference of good stress and bad stress is that bad stress wears you out. I mean, it drains you, and
Yes.
and it's harmful for you and for your health. So just like you said,
Mhm.
good stress, it gives you inspiration, motivation, and even it gives you like you said, it's your body reacts in a positive way. So it prepares you for the challenge. Bad stress can lead to to the contrary thing. So bad stress can lead to insomnias. Bad stress can lead to your gastric
Anxiety.
problems. To you losing your concentration, to you decrease your performance. So
Mhm.
bad stress causes the opposite. And
Mhm.
what usually happens, and what you are saying, it's that, and what we usually see in dentistry, is that we ignore the red flags, because, and
Yes.
that has to do with the lack of awareness that we have, right? So we live basically from our necks up, just inside of our head, telling ourselves it's normal, I can do this, it's normal. Just like you said, so there's a lot of people that
Mhm.
have this capacity to, okay,
Yeah.
let's go, I have to, right?
Yeah.
Completely disconnect with your with the body, ignoring all the red flags that the body is telling them. And then or you reach a situation where you are aware, and you said, and you realize that stress is having physical effects on you,
On
right?
you.
And the thing is that bad stress has physical consequences, personal consequences, emotional consequences to on dentists, and also it
Mhm.
has consequences to the patients of
Yes.
stressed dentists. Or you reach a point that you look at yourself, and you see, okay, this is harmful for me, and you notice that you have to do something about it, and usually that already implies changes, because you have to change something if you want to have different results. Or if you continue, then you reach to a point of burnout, and a burnout, then it's already different, because with burnout you are unable to function. So it's harmful. It's a point that it's harmful for you to even go to work. So so this is the big difference between good stress and bad stress, right? And sometimes even the good stress, and it's very important for the ones that are listening to us to understand that dentistry, yes, is a highly stressful profession. Sometimes we have several situations during the day that are triggering us, not just one, but several. But it's impossible to have a stress-free dentistry. I don't know if you.
Yes.
I think every dentist can agree with this. So it's not possible to have a stress-free dentistry. So the secret here is to be able to differentiate this, and to be able also to not ignore the red flags. And one of the ways that you can do that, for example, because sometimes we are the ones that give ourselves stress. And sometimes when we are able to change
the
narrative, that's it, the perspective, but first the narrative that we tell to ourselves.
So you're saying that self-talk can be amazing or destructive.
Yeah, that's it. So let me give you an example of someone that a student of yours, of your course, that you give your rehabilitation course, right? So for example, in the end, they are ready, right? So in the end, they learn all the technical skills that they need. But if they start practicing and all they think about is, I'm not going to be able to do this, I'm going to fail, I will never be as good as André. So yeah, they will work in a fear-based mode.
Yeah.
So even no matter how good the result is, it will be a bad experience for them. It will be a stressful experience for them.
Yeah, the way that you talk to yourself is so important, and it's so powerful as well.
On the other hand, if they choose to believe that that they are improving their patients' lives, is they have the opportunity to change people's life, that they will they will make that person's lives better, that that person will eat better, that person will smile better. They will have the same technical skills, right? The same knowledge, the same everything that you taught them. It will be the same, right? But they will work from a place of more confidence instead of a place of fear-based, and this makes all the difference in your body. So because
also
say
how easy it is to do that shift in the self-talk.
It needs training. That's it.
Everything.
First you need to have the awareness of the way you talk to yourself.
Yes, that's number one.
And then you need to be able to
change the narrative,
to rewire your inner critic, because the inner critic has a function. So that no one is saying here that you should, I'm the best, and that's not it. That has to be a balance there.
Balance, of course.
So that's why I said you need to be able to bring the big picture here. You are changing people's life. You are making this person. I'm not saying for you to say to yourself, you are the best, right? So you need to be able to rewire your inner critic, to make it your inner guide. But no, it's not easy. It's so first the awareness, and then it needs training. It's not like you are listening to us here talking, and tomorrow you're going to wake up, and because you heard this, and you're going to wake up and talk to yourself in a different way. But the thing here is that, of course, our mind talks to our body. And if we spend our days just working in a fear-based mode and with the fear of
Mm-hmm.
failing, if that our body receives that message. So
Mm-hmm.
we have this knot in the stomach, our muscles are tension, we work with muscular tension. Some people have a sweat, they have nausea
Mm-hmm.
while they are
Mm-hmm.
working. So, and this will, of course, then go back to your mind and reinforce. Your mind will say, okay, something is going on because he's reacting.
Mm-hmm.
So this will reinforce our thoughts of, oh yeah, see, I cannot do this, I cannot this. And this is not the case, right? Because when the secret here is also to start to pay attention not only to our thoughts but also to our body reaction, so that we can start to be aware of our thoughts and how our body reacts to our thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
agree with you.
and again, for example, taking again a student of yours that finished the course. Imagine that he finished the course and he goes to the practice that he's working, and
Mm-hmm.
he or she finds the perfect case to start. So a not very difficult one, not very complicated one. They decided to do everything with time, so they have the freedom to make the appointment with the time that they think they need for that case. They prepare for it, but they don't prepare the inner critic. So they don't do the inner critic
Oh, that's
work.
so nice. That's so interesting.
So imagine this. So imagine that the day starts, right? And the first patient that they have is, imagine like an anxious patient. The appointment
Mm-hmm.
takes more than they think. So they are
Mm-hmm.
already late. So they will not have
Mm-hmm.
the time that they thought they would have, because the day
Mm-hmm.
already starts not in the right way. And then when they finally start, the assistant comes in saying that there's a patient that called that is with pain and needs to talk to them. So because this situations happens in dentistry, and that's why it's a highly stressful profession, and stress starts to build. And if you are not aware, this will result in reactivity. This will result in automatic pilot, right? This will
I
result
understand.
of in thoughts of, this is why I'm not. This is definitely not going to go well. Why did I put myself into this? And they forget that they chose the right case, right? That they prepared, that they have the technical knowledge. So what needs to be done here, and this is very important, is to recognize, right? To be mindful, and that's that's why I think mindfulness is a very powerful stress reduction tool in dentistry. But you need to really to recognize your thoughts. You need to recognize your body reactions, and you need to be able to use your internal voice, right, in a way that serves you, because you need to be able to recognize that those thoughts are not serving you at the moment. So the first step is to stop them. um, so yeah, tell me.
But well, I understand that. I understand that,
Yeah,
but I'm trying to place myself in the shoes of people listening. And there's lots of people with anxiety and
yeah,
very, very loud and noisy inner critics. Um, I think I've been quite successful in my life to be able to lower their voice because we all have them.
mm-hmm.
Um, I'm far from being perfect. Of course, I have lots of issues like everybody else, but I'm trying to place myself in the shoes of a person with insecurities and anxiety, because I always have these students. Sometimes that shy guy or that shy girl, she's there, and you can really feel a lack of confidence in them. And you can really still see that they struggle in some way with security issues, right? My question to you, and honestly, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna give my opinion as well. But is it that easy? I mean, is it so easy
No.
to stop the inner critic all of a sudden?
No.
It needs to be trained. It needs to be trained, yes. But my answer to you, my answer to people that think, well, I'm never going to change. I'm never going to have confidence in myself. I'm never ever going to be able to have competence and feel safe treating a patient, etc. But my my answer to that is that it is a decision that you make. I think you make the decision, and once you make that decision, just okay. So you can even try it like once or twice. So you're in the middle of the, like you were saying, you have to get your inner talk prepared for the patient. I think it's very interesting. You can prepare that the day before. You can write down, or you can think even some anchor phrase. Look, I'm going to do this well. I'm going to do this well, and it's amazing how powerful these things are. Even some small things. Changes don't happen from one day to the other, but even a small change in the way that you talk to yourself can have dramatic impacts. It can be the difference between you treating a patient or not treating a patient. Like for example, we were talking before that when I had COVID, I was quite affected mentally by it. Neurologically, I was it was really strange, and I had a lot of memory losses and stuff like that. And I remember when I was there was one time that I went for a surgery in my practice, and I had a patient. For example, I even had the history of a patient of a doctor that she was a general surgeon, and she was telling me, look, when after having COVID, I had some memory issues and brain fog and stuff like that. So I was doing a appendicitis treatment, which is a very easy surgery for a general surgeon. And she said, look, I had to stop, and it was really strange and frustrating. But I remember that I was doing like a double arch implant treatment with immediate loading on the same, which are always stressful and long surgeries, like 3, 4, 5, sometimes 3, 4 hours. And I remember that I started the surgery, and I was like in the peak of those symptoms of COVID, and I was almost going to quit. But then I thought, no, look, I have to talk myself in a more productive way. So hang on, do it step by step, do what you can, one step at a time, and step by step you go through. And I think this is a very important message that the way that you talk yourself is very important. Number one, it's a decision, and start slow. And it's if you can take the next step better by saying something to yourself, the next step in the next minute better. And it goes from there. One step more better, one step more better, one step more better. So yes, you do have to train, but you also have to use this in your daily. You have to start using this sort of positive self talk to you, because at the end of the day, that's one of the most important tools that you have. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. This working on the inner critic, it's not easy, and like you said, there are some people that have more confidence than others. There are some people that have more anxiety than others, and this is another very important thing, to differentiate between stress and anxiety. But before that, it is possible to rewire your inner critic, but it doesn't happen. It's not that easy. It's not a very rapid process. You have to work on it. It requires training, but those two steps are crucial. So the first one is to have the awareness of how you talk to yourself. This is very important. I remember that for me, when I started to pay attention the way I talk to myself, I was in shock. I was in complete shock. Yeah, I called myself stupid several times a day. I never
You
called
called?
anyone myself
Yeah.
stupid several times a
Mhm.
day. I never called anyone stupid. So I called myself. So I treated myself in a way that I don't treat anyone. I spoke with myself with such an aggressivity that
Mhm.
I was shocked with myself. So to have the self-awareness of how you talk to yourself, this is the first step. And then you and that what you said is very important. You can find um, sentences that you can use. I have one that I still use. So I every time I called myself stupid, I every time I caught myself calling myself stupid, I say, no, I'm not. I'm doing the best that I know and that I can. I'm doing the best that I know and that I can. And so you start shifting, you start rewiring your inner critic, but it's a process and it takes time. But one other tip or advice that I can give for colleagues that in the moment when they are in a treatment and that they identify this kind of thoughts of insecurity is to make this simple question: can I find a solution? What is the next step? So take it step by step, because you learn the technique. You learn the technique. So for you to remember that, just instead recognize that those thoughts that you are having are not useful for the situation. Bring yourself together, and what is the next step? And you remember the technique, and you do the next step and the next step and the next step, and you focus on that. So this is a nice also way for you to bring your focus back to what you are doing and not to the voice, because that inner critic, that loud inner critic that puts you in a place of stress, again, your mind communicates with your body, so immediately your body will be in a place of stress also, and you will be working based on fear. If you refocus yourself on thinking, what is the next step? Can I do this? Yes, I learned the technique. What is the next step? And you do the next step and the next step and the next step. Then you will be working from a different place. So this is also a nice, I think, a good advice for the colleagues that are listening, that feel this sometimes very loud inner critic telling them that they cannot do it, or that they are not secure enough to do it. Another
Yeah.
thing that I yeah, sorry, you were saying something.
No, no, I was agreeing with you.
Uh, no, and I just wanted to differentiate, because I think it's very important, between stress and anxiety, because you said it also. So we already talked about stress, but stress is mainly and mostly external, right? So it's
Hmm.
triggered by something external. For
Hmm.
example, a difficult case, or a difficult patient, something that is there triggering you. Anxiety is more internal. So if you, and anxiety, usually the best way for you to distinguish these two is that if you remove the stressors, you are still going to feel
Yes.
overwhelmed and
Stress.
distressed. So
Yes.
that's anxiety. So
Hmm.
if you remove the difficult case, if you remove imagine that you think that your main stress cause is a heavy workload. So you reduce your
Hmm.
workload, you start having more soft days, you start not getting late, but you still feel overwhelmed. So that's anxiety, right? So
Hmm.
look for help, because that's not stress, it's you dealing with anxiety. Also,
Hmm.
anxiety can be identified when you have an excessive reaction to a situation. So because, as we already talked about, and there are situations that are always going to give you stress, no matter how well prepared you are, there are situations that will give stress to everyone. So so for example, again, a demanding case when you are expected to deliver your best, for example, so you will always have stress. So if you have an excessive reaction, right? So if you, for example, in the extreme, a panic attack, or you feel overwhelmed in a way that you cannot perform, then that's probably anxiety also. Because anxiety can cause you to be unable to function, while stress is manageable. If you identify your stress factors, there's like I just said, for example, if you have a heavy workload, if you are always late in your appointments, if you work on that, then stress usually is manageable. You are able to reduce it. And if not, of course, you cannot reduce it completely. There's not a stress-free dentistry, like we said, but the residual stress that you have, if you work on your stress factors, you are able to deal with it by bringing a response. Anxiety, on the other hand, can enable you to function. So I think it's very important that the ones that are listening also be aware of the difference between stress and anxiety, because I think that sometimes these two are confused. Because anxiety can cause you to feel fear, even of things that even haven't happened. So there is a lot of mental activity there, and stress is a reaction to something that is happening. And also, there are the ones that said that anxiety is stress plus worry. So anxiety is stress plus the worry, but the worry also has a point. Worry is beneficial if it leads to change, if it leads you to act on it. Because if it has no point, then it can lead to anxiety, so to this feeling of fear. So I don't know if if I was clear on distinguish these two.
Yes, you were completely clear.
It's important.
You were completely clear. Yes, you were completely clear, and I think that there's also important message that if you feel constant anxiety that doesn't go away, I mean that starts to affect your capacity to work and to live and to rest and to do what you like to do, then yes, then you should seek help. Or I would also, regarding anxiety, so, and this is a conversation that I usually have with patients with anxiety, which are usually the situations of TMD patients, that the first talk that we have to them is about stress and behavioral therapy. And so I usually have this talk with them, which I think is the same, which is you have to be aware of what's going on, number one, and then maybe do some changes in your routine. Like, for example, you've stopped doing exercise, so go back to exercise. You've always been curious about yoga or meditation, so get some classes or go to YouTube and learn to meditate. Try to have a healthy lifestyle, because sometimes if you are fooled by coffee, and if you are not eating properly, and if you are not sleeping properly, if you are, there are so many common sense rules that you can implement.
Can I ask you to take all of those that you just said and apply it to dentists?
Yes. Yeah, but this is the conversation that we have. We have this brochure that so the first appointment with a TMD patient is clinical history and stress related and behavioral therapy, and go back to, so sometimes we often see that they stopped exercising or during the pandemic, or that they something happened and they bring their computer to the bedroom and they start working on the computer, or they went through a breakup, or they had a loss, or they were unemployed, or there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them, look, this is very easy for me to say because it's easier said than done, and you know better than me what's going on. So from the first until the second appointment, I want you to think about that. I'm not going to do anything. We're just going to think about that. We have a diagnosis here. Not you will not necessarily need a splint. The first thing that you need to do is to think about this and do the changes in your life that you know better than I do that need to be done. And eventually, if these are not enough, you can find some professional help.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Yes, and this is one of the things that I work also with dentists on the 8 weeks mindfulness-based stress reduction course, which is a stress reduction course, is for them to first grow the awareness of the stress that they have on their days, the needs that they have to change, also the lifestyle changes that need to be done, to grow awareness of thoughts, to grow body awareness, because it's all connected. And then, of course, there will be situations that a stress reduction course is not enough, or is not the what they need. They need professional help, and if that's the case, I mean, either whatever is, I think that it's been one of my struggles, is that going back to the beginning, dentistry is identified as a highly stressful profession, and you find a lot of literature on that will tell you that, and it will tell you the causes and all of that. But then when you make the question, okay, but how do dentists deal with that stress? There's nothing, because there's nothing really. And even when I make the question to dentists, the ones that come to me and make the complaints that they are suffering from stress, okay, so how do you deal with it? And they don't have an answer. So it's sometimes it's even like a joke between dentists. I don't know if you have that experience, but it's like it comes with the job.
It's accepted.
It's normal. It's accepted.
Yeah.
It comes with the job. It's part of the job. It's not. It's not. There is, of course, not stress-free dentistry doesn't exist, but you don't have to feel the physical consequences of it. You don't have to be emotional exhausted. You don't have to be physical exhausted due to your profession. You can live your profession in a different way. Any other question that you want to make?
I think it was lovely what you just said. You just said that it comes as a cost, and you just said it doesn't need to be a cost. So stress, dentistry does not need to be highly stressful. There's stress, but it does not. Dentistry should not take its toll on you, and I think this is very important, because I think that many dentists say, "Well, this is normal," but it's not. It's not normal, and you can have some control of that.
No, it's not normal, and the funny thing is that most of stress in dentistry can be not reduced. It can be eliminated. It can be eliminated if you grow awareness on what really brings you stress, and if you make some changes, if you work on those changes, you will drastically eliminate your stress. And then, if you work on having good systems, good protocols in your clinic, if you work on bringing everything together for having for expecting the results, for reducing the drama. You say this a lot, and that's true. If you work on that, you will diminish stress, and then the stress that comes with the job, it becomes the good stress that we were talking in the beginning. It becomes your motivator, your inspiration, what allows you to be in flow when you are working, you know. So that's the interesting thing about dentistry, and that I think that dentists are still not able to get that. So instead of accepting that their profession, it's normal for that professional to drain them and to wear them out and to leave them completely exhausted physically and emotionally, and they accept it in a way that it leaves them sick. Instead of accepting that, they should work on discovering why they feel that way. They should work on the changes, and then they should be able to really enjoy and live their profession in a healthy way, in a way that it's enjoyable, in a way that it's because it's a big part of our life, dentistry, and it's like having work-life balance.
And it's never too late to change. It's never too late.
Mm-hmm. No.
Some people are scared of doing changes at more advanced stages of their career. It's not. And sometimes I ask them, well, so you have these issues. Are you willing to live the last 5 years of your professional career like this? I mean, and they usually say, well, no, I'm not willing to have this amount of stress. And so yes, it's never too late to change. Either you are young, or you're in the middle of your career, or you are near the end of your career. It's never too late to try to be as happy as possible and as fulfilled in your career and in your life, of course.
Okay, so I think it's a nice way for us to
That was a good one.
Finish. Thank you so much, André, for the nice conversation again. And we're going to say goodbye. If you, I just want to say thank you for the ones that are listening to us. Even this week, I had again nice feedback on the.
So what
podcast.
did they tell you? What did they tell you?
I mean, it's always maybe the ones that don't
always
like
positive.
Don't say anything. But the feedback that I have, it's always good, and that it's always a feedback of not it's so good that you are talking about this, because I feel this way, and now I know I'm not the only one. So I think it's a way of us also, this conversation is a way of us also normalizing certain issues that comes with the job, but they are part of the job. And that way it's maybe we help to not feel so aliens. I had actually an email from a person saying like, I thought that I was the weird one to wanted to live the profession in a different way, but now I know it's possible. So it's
that's very cool.
I believe in that we can leave dentistry in a different way. But I also want to know if you have any comments or any suggestions. Let us know.
We would be happy to.
So thank you so much, André. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuela. It's always wonderful to talk to you. And I always learn a few things about myself, and I always think about my life, and if I'm on the track of, if I'm doing what I can in the best way that I can, so I can have not only a better, let's say, work-life balance, but also the people around me. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for everyone that is listening. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.